Hey, it's NBA Insight, and today I'm going to be doing my finals power rankings. And number one, we got the Warriors. Warriors are one of the best teams, and they just won the finals. So I gotta say, putting the Warriors at number one is a great idea until it hits free agency, where they might lose KD or some other players. So keeping the Warriors at number one now is going to be the thing to do. Number two, we got the Celtics. I'm putting them there because of the first overall pick, which they have, which could elevate their team to beat the Cavs or even beat the Warriors in the NBA Finals. Number three, I got the Spurs. I think the Spurs are deserving of the spot because they could add Chris Paul and elevate their game to maybe even beating the Warriors if the Warriors lose Durant. So I think the Spurs, and even if the Spurs don't get Chris Paul, they'll still be a good team. So number three is a great spot for the Spurs. Number four, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think the Cavaliers are deserving of the fourth spot because they've paid too much to Tristan Thompson and a few other free agents. I think they might do that again. So I think they're going on a downward spiral, but they're still a really, really good team. So number four is a great spot for them. In the five spot, I've got the Utah Jazz. And the Utah Jazz are actually a really good team. But I'm thinking they're going up because last year they were 51-31 and they had the fifth spot and they beat the Clippers in their first series. So I think next year they could be number three or even number two in the Western Conference. So that would be great. Number six, I got the Houston Rockets, and the Houston Rockets are a great team. They've got James Harden. They've got a lot of other great players like Patrick Beverley, defensive god. And they're just a great three-point shooting team. And I think they're on their way up in the league. Number seven, I've got the Washington Wizards. They've got John Wall, Bradley Beal. Great team, great nucleus, young nucleus. And a lot of people are hypothesizing that the Wizards could get Kevin Durant, and if that happens, they might move up to number three. But right now, they're at number seven, and they're moving their way up. Number eight, we got the Toronto Raptors. They've got DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, just a good team overall, and that's why I'm putting them at number eight. Next year, they'll probably be maybe 3, maybe 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. So they'll definitely be a good team in the Eastern Conference. Not the best, but one of the best. Number 9, I got the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder are definitely a good team. They've got Russell Westbrook, who's probably going to become the MVP. And I think they're going to be Russell Westbrook and Steven Adams, they're just going to be stepping their games up next year. Maybe not Russell Westbrook, but definitely Steven Adams. He's going to be stepping his game up. And that's why I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder will move up or be good next year. Number 10, I've got the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks were the 6th seed last year in the Eastern Conference. And they've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's probably, in my opinion, one of the best young players, along with, Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns, that whole Minnesota team, and some of the Nuggets players. But definitely, they're on their way up. They'll be moving up in the next few years. Giannis, he did really well last year, and I think he'll do even better this next year. At number 11, I've got the Portland Trailblazers, and they are a great team. They got Damian Lillard, they got CJ McCollum. Last year, they kind of turned their team around a little bit more, and I think that'll propel them to be better. Then when they had when they had Aldridge, they were doing good. They had Lillard, they had Aldridge, but ever since Aldridge is gone, McCollum has stepped up his game, and I think McCollum will step up his game even more, especially if they add a pretty good free agent like center or power forward next year. At number 12, I've got the Memphis Grizzlies. They've got a good, center. Nucleus, I guess, of Mike Conley, who I definitely think will do even better next year. And they've got Marc Gasol, who's one of the best centers in the league, if not the best. So I'm definitely saying the Grizzlies are definitely one of the better teams in the West. At number 13, we've got the Denver Nuggets, and they've got Emmanuel Mudiay and a lot of other young players that will definitely step up their game next year and help Denver move up the West ladder. At number 14, I've got the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Minnesota Timberwolves have got Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, and a lot of other young players just like the Nuggets. But the reason why I'm putting them below the Nuggets is that the Nuggets players, some of them, like their better players, are a good year or two older than the Timberwolves players, or they've got a year or two more experience than the Timberwolves players. That's why I'm putting them a step above the Timberwolves. At number 15, I've got the Atlanta Hawks. And the Atlanta Hawks are a pretty good team. They got Dennis Schroeder, they've got Howard, and they've got, I think, Paul Millsap, is it? Yeah, Paul Millsap. And their team's good, just Dennis Schroeder isn't that good. And they've also got, Kent Bazemore, who's and Tim Hardaway Jr., who's And that's why they're not higher up in the list. They're more lower down. But they're still a great team. At number 16, I've got the LA Clippers, and the reason why they're here is because of Chris Paul. No one knows what Chris Paul's going to do, and that's why they're at number 16. There's old core of good players, but they're on the downward spiral, and that's why they're at number 16. At number 17, I've got the Chicago Bulls, and Chicago Bulls are a great team. They're moving their way up with Rondo. Rondo did great in the postseason, and Jimmy Butler, but I just don't think they can capitalize enough to move themselves up more in the Eastern Conference. At number 18, I've got the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat are a good team, but they're not very good. They just lost Chris Bosh, but they've got Hassan Whiteside. So I think Hassan Whiteside's going to have to step up his game. They could get Gordon Hayward, is what I've heard, and that could step up their game even more. At number 19, I've got the Indiana Pacers. Pacers are a good team. They got Paul George, but people think that they're going to trade Paul George. So Paul George could be moving around, and that's why they're at the 19th spot. Number 20, we got the New Orleans Pelicans, and the New Orleans Pelicans have Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, and I think next year those two will be great together, but I don't know if it's good enough to get them a playoff spot. At number 21, we've got the Charlotte Hornets, and they've got Kemba Walker, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and a few other players that are pretty good, and I think they'll step up, elevate their game next year, and do even better. At number 22, I've got the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns have got Devin Booker, Marquise Chris, I think that's his name, right? Marquise Chris? Yeah. Tyler Ulis, Eric Bledsoe, Tyson Chandler. I think Tyson Chandler, but I don't really know. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, they've got Tyson Chandler. They've got Dragan Bender. They've got Jared Dudley, Brandon Knight. I think I said his name there. No, never mind. But they're a good team, and they're on their way up with their young nucleus, and they're gonna do good next year. At number 23, I've got the Dallas Mavericks. They've got Nowitzki, and he's a year older. And that's why I don't think they'll do that much better next year. but they've still got an okay team, so they still could do well. And that's why they're on my number 23 spot. At number 24, I've got the Pistons. The Pistons have got Andre Drummond, but he's their only player. And I'm pretty sure, he did good last year, but did he really do good last year? He carried their team, but he just barely carried their team. He's signed on with the team, or he's got like a extension with the team, but they're wasting all that money on just him. So at number 25, I've got the Knicks. They got Porzingis, they've got Melo, they've got a good team, but they're not good enough to be in like the low, like 19 to 15. They're a 20 team because they haven't stepped up their game to that next level. At number 26, I've got the Orlando Magic. They've got an team. They've got a few good players like, what's his name again? Aaron Gordon and Vucevic and Elfrid Payton. But Elfrid Payton's They spent a lot of money on Bismack Biyombo, I'm pretty sure. So that wasn't a really good signing. But they've got Hezgonia, and he was a good draft pick for them a few years ago, I think it was. And I think they're on their way up, but they're not going to move that far out of the 26th spot. At 27, we've got the Sacramento Kings. And the Sacramento Kings traded away their best player that they probably will have for a few years, DeMarcus Cousins. And I don't know if that's really a good idea, but they still have got Rudy Gay, Darren Collison, Willie Cauley-Stein, Buddy Hield, that's who they got from that trade, and Skal Labissiere. And I think they're going to move up in the draft for the Sixers pick, which is really stupid. But they're a stupid team, as they got rid of Cousins. And at the 28th spot, we got the Lakers with most likely Lonzo soon. But they've got Jordan Clarkson, D'Angelo Russell, Julius Randle, just overall, and Brandon Ingram. Just a good young nucleus. But they did spend money on Timofey Mozgov last year or the year before. So it was just a stupid move. But still, they're a good team, and they're going to be on their way up in the world. At number 29, we've got the 76ers, and they're probably going to make another dumb move this year in the draft. Probably grabbing another center. But they could get Jason Tatum or Josh Jackson at their number 3 spot. Once Ben Simmons comes back and Joel Embiid comes back, I might evaluate them a lot better and have a better idea of where they could be at. 20 or so, that's where I'd guess. But until they really step up their game and just are injury-free, I can't really evaluate them. In the 30th spot is the Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are definitely the worst team. Last year they had the worst record, and they have a 20th pick or something, or 25th pick in the draft, but they gave away their first pick to the Celtics. They didn't give it away. It was in a trade a few years ago. But Celtics have their pick. And that is what screwed the Brooklyn Nets. And I'm NBA Insight. And you got some insight.